Now I just did something that I have not done in years, and that is buy flies. So let me tell you why I did this. One of the newsletters I get comes from Moonlit Fly Fishing. I'll talk about them in a second. One of the ones that I actually read, Brandon Moon runs that shop, and he sends it out about every week or so. But the last one, I noticed that he had a sale on some flies. So I just clicked on it, went up to his website and checked out these flies, and there were some really cool patterns in it. So one of them, I'll just show you, is a dumbbell eye big zonker streamer. This thing is a beautiful little streamer, and he normally sells this for $3. It's actually on sale right now, 6 of these for $8, so it was quite a good deal. And I thought, okay, well, I might buy some of these flies and then tie them for myself. But this one would probably take me 15 minutes to tie, and I'm not even sure if I had all these materials. So I just bought half a dozen of these, and I'm going to fish them. But the fly that really caught my attention was a Madam X, a variation of the Madam X. He calls it the Madam X foam striker, and I'm just going to call it Moon's Madam X. Now, it's a really cool looking pattern. If you've ever tied the original Madam X, which is a very popular and successful fly, it's not the easiest pattern to tie because it's got that deer hair head folded over, which is also part of the wing. So it can be a little bit challenging to get that just right. But Brandon's version of this thing, he uses foam for a head and just kind of the top part of the wing. So this version, I think, is a really cool fly. It is probably a little bit easier to tie than the original Madam X and might be more effective because I typically fish this fly as an attractor, maybe as a hopper. I'm sure in smaller sizes it could be a general attractor pattern, but it's kind of big and looks kind of like a nice grasshopper terrestrial. All right, enough of an intro. If you're not familiar with them, check out Moonlit Fly Fishing. But in the meantime, let's tie Moon's Madam X. So there it is in the vise, Moon's Madam X. Looks pretty much like a standard Madam X, but without the deer hair head. It's got a foam for the front half of the fly. Now the ones I got from him were on a size 10 dry fly hook, which they look great, but I'm going to step this up to a terrestrial hook. So it's a 3X long, still size 10, but I pretty much fish the Madam X as a terrestrial. So I'm going to kind of think of this as a hopper. Now olive thread, this is a 70 denier. Just catch it in anywhere in the middle. Bring it back here to the start of the bend where we're going to catch in the tail. And the tail is just going to be a small to medium tuft of deer hair. I'm sure elk would be fine here, but go ahead and put a little tuft in your stacker. All right, let's see if this stacked okay. Yep, that's fine. Just going to lay it on here. Not a real long tail, but you know, whatever you think looks good. So I think that's going to work right there. And we'll catch this in with a couple wraps, not real tight. I don't want the tail to flare on the back too much. So a couple of loose wraps right there. All right, that tail's going to be fine. Now I'm going to leave all this in here and just do some medium to loose wraps going up to about maybe 2/3 of the way up where we're going to catch in our foam. So I think that's going to work right there. Now I can put some tighter wraps right here before I snip all this excess up front. Now we are going to color this body with this olive thread. And this is where a 140 denier would have been a little bit better. But I'll speed this up. I can get a decent olive body with this 70 denier. Okay, that took a minute, but I think we got a fine body right there. And we are going to put a wing right where our thread is, but before that, we're going to put the little piece of foam in. And Brandon had, the ones he sent me, I think it was a 1mm foam. This is a 2mm, but we're going to make it work. You just have to go with what you got. So I'm going to catch it in right there. So we got a little bit sticking back over that body. Several wraps here, not real tight, but a little bit tight. Now I can't just catch my wing in right there. So I'm going to have to go forward with some medium wraps right here to flatten out an area where I can catch this wing in. and our legs. And plus we're gonna have a thorax up here as well. So imagine flipping it back. Don't want to get too close to our eye up there, but I can get a little bit closer than that. So there we go. I think that's going to work right there. Now just another tuft of that deer hair, maybe a little bit more than we had for the tail. I'm going to put this in my stacker. See how well that's stacked? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to catch it in right where my thread is hanging, probably back to the bend of the hook. And it's going to flare a little bit on us, but we can take care of that when we have some dubbing on our thread and we're wrapping it back. So don't worry about that flare right there. I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit farther forward right here just to really secure this deer hair before I snip off the front part of it. So after you've snipped that about as close as you can get it, let's take our thread to the back of this little thorax area here, and catch in some legs. I'm going to go with an olive green with a little bit of bars on it. So I'll just lay this right up here on top and do a couple of loose wraps so I can position them before I really lock them in. They're a little bit longer than I want, but that's fine. We will trim them in one of the later steps. Okay, and I like them to come off a little bit toward the bottom if you can make that happen, so that when the fly gets in the water, the legs might be down there in the surface film. Okay, I think we're good with the legs. Now I'm going to just take a few more wraps here to kind of lock them in so they don't spin around on me when I wrap this thorax. So let's put a little bit of wax on our thread here. And for the thorax, I'm going to use some olive rabbit. I think any fuzzy dubbing would work right here, and the color to match the whatever bug you're making. Now you might need a kind of long noodle, because see how thick that thorax right there is? And that's maybe a 2-inch noodle. We'll see if that's going to be enough. If not, we'll go back and put some more on there. Now if your wing is sticking up too much, you can take a wrap with this dubbing a little bit farther back. I think we're going to be fine right there. But also this foam can help us lay that wing down. But I'm going to need to open these legs up before I fold this foam back. So now fold it back. We got our little hopper head right there. And actually I need my thread to be kind of the back of this thorax. So we'll do that with a couple wraps right there. Now I'm going to flip this over. And if I caught it in right there, that is a little bit too long. So I'm going to go ahead and shorten this, and then I will put my, point on it. So snip off the corners right here. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. Now we just fold this over, and that is going to kind of help us push that wing down and give us our little hopper head. So don't need too many wraps right here. I'm going to go with a good 3 or 4, and that's where I'm going to whip finish it. I'm not going to try to go up there under the eye. So I'll just pull my thread out right here and then do a little hand whip finish right here behind this head. Now let's take a look, see if we got any cleanup. I probably do. I've got some of those, some of that deer hair coming off on the side, but trim the legs to the length you want, and I usually like my front ones just a little bit shorter than the back one. So there we go right there. And see if I have any cleanup. Yeah, I got a little bit right here I can take care of, but really I've got a fishable fly here, and this thing could go in my box as is. So that's it, my friends. Brandon Moon's Madam X. Pretty cool little pattern. I think it's going to do great in terrestrial season. So I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.